dream that you earned.
Yeah, man, I think that's the hardest part, though, is taking it all in. I think that's the hardest part, taking it all in. Because I want more. I'm not happy. I'm not satisfied with it. I need more. There was a lot of things that we talked on and that we got on topic about. But when it came to the boxing part, he did tell me, you know, why you guys, we got to make these fights happen. You know, he was a lot of instigating when it came to, you know, we had FaceTime Devin Haney. You know, we was talking smack with him on his show. Mike was enjoying it. Mike was having fun. The whole thing that he told me, man, just keep beating them, pretty much.
What's your take on Mike Tyson? He told Teo he wanted to see him fight Devin. Teo said he FaceTimed Devin Haney while hotboxing with Mike Tyson. What was that conversation like? Did you hear anything about that?
I don't know, but that's Devin pulling up on Teo because Teo was making his rounds professing to be the 4-belt champion when one of the belts, according to Mauricio Suleiman, is not a belt or title, it's a designation. So he has 3 belts and a designation, but he's claiming that he has the 4th belt. And it's a shame that almost that a 23-year-old young man will feel that he can just piss on people's heads and tell them it's raining. And then everyone is supposed to just go along with it based on you being a fan of the Lopez's. So what I would ask of any of the fans that's really about this shit, say, you know, tell them that you believe in them and tell them to tell the truth and to get in the ring and represent all the shit that y'all be typing on the keyboard. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's unfair that, you know, you guys are talking and you guys show so much enthusiasm when it's just as easy as having him contact Mauricio Suleiman and telling him that he wants to be Devin's mandatory. You don't need to talk to you guys. You know, that's why when you come back and you're starting to talk to y'all and I don't have any problem. Well, brother, if you don't have a problem, then you call Mauricio Suleiman, because we can't call Mauricio Suleiman about you, because we'd have called them about you just the way we called about Lomachenko. You see what I'm saying? And if Ryan Garcia wanted to call Mauricio about Devin, he could. You know, my phone ain't ringing. So when I look on the internet and hear the Teos and talk, and I don't hear Mauricio come up and say that, you know, yeah, we got a request from Teo to fight you, or we got a request from, there's another guy, Lomachenko. He can get it too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We already know what time it is. That's how the franchise came to fruition. When you need witness protection, you get that crap.
But I'm here to tell the people, as the champion, what you guys must know, and you learn more about boxing, is that no, them motherfuckers supposed to challenge the champion. The champion can't challenge, even though then when we go to fights as champions, when we call out people, then people say, okay, well, why are they champions? And they seem desperate. But as a world champion, this is unprecedented that the line ain't around the corner to fight the champion. Not the champion is looking to fight people. You know what I'm saying? Now, if he wants to take the belts and take the ring, he take all them, and the WBA is cool with him not fighting the WBC, or they wanting to do it, or the WBO, then what the fuck can we care? Floyd Mayweather ain't never had all 4 of the belts and got money like a motherfucker. And it's the TBE. So the people gonna catch on. He can keep bullshitting with them other 3 belts and all the shit, and he don't really want to fight and making all of them. The people gonna catch on. Floyd ain't never had all them belts. He trying to take the belts. He trying to take the belts and the narrative and say that he's a bad motherfucker because you, man, come on, man. No, you should be a bad motherfucker because you want to fight anybody to make whatever fight happens. That's the bad motherfucker. Now, if people say different and they say they want to ride with that, that's cool. You know, everybody wouldn't be in the car with me anyway. You know what I'm saying? So you got different people, you know, all kind of different people. It's just like his fans ain't the kind of fans that I would necessarily ride with if they ride with that shit. If they call me up and say, hey, we want to see you fight our champion, I say, that them is riders right there. Yeah, I would want to ride with them. Why? Because they believe in their God, man. Win, lose, or draw, they believe in him. And they believe in him to fight and fight in this sport, you know, to compete in this sport. It's a sport at the end of the day. I'm from East Oakland, California, man. You know what I'm saying? You know how many of my guys and friends and shit that I see every day and that I talk to man, and I feel for them because their fight don't got boxing gloves. You know what I'm saying? We blessed. We're blessed, man. We're blessed. So is the Lopez, the Garcia, the Haneys. We're all blessed. And that's what we should always say. And we should always let the people know the truth. You know, you guys pay our tickets. You pay for this shit. You know what I'm saying? You pay us. You pay the salary. So to be conscientious of what the people think about instead of telling them, right? To be openly, well, who do you think? That's why Devin respectfully and humbly just put up him and Teal, and he said, what do y'all think? You know what I mean? He didn't say, I'm about to beat the fuck out of him. I'm about to, what y'all think? Well, if he's a bad motherfucker, if he's all that, and everybody, we say, okay, we're not going to say that he's not. We just say this shit. We'll fight him next. Let me rephrase that, because this next then started being, we'll fight him now. Yeah, we're going to put the next on it. We don't want to confuse people. We'll fight him now. Not because he's no soft motherfucker, because he's not good, or because he didn't just beat the shit out of Loma, or he didn't just knock out 1,000 different people. You know what I mean? For that reason, that's why we say we want to fight him. Because y'all say he's a bad motor scooter.
It's all about the best fighting the best in every sport.
Nothing personal.
Even the Super Bowl, for example, is always the final two teams playing against each other. We want to see the champions unify. We don't want to see a champion versus number 5 in the division, number 6, number 7. We want to see the top 2 guys fight each other. That's why we want to see Tio versus Devin. There's no secret. Roy Jones preached the same thing. If you feel like you're the best, then you should get all the straps. So when Mike Tyson FaceTimed Javante next to Ryan, the fight was made on the set. So how close are we today to that undisputed bout between Devin Haney and Teofimo?
Teofimo, he got to get in contact with us. He know we can't get in contact with him to make the fight happen. Tell him to get in contact with Mauricio Suleiman, and let's stop just talking on the internet, and let's make this shit happen. You know, Mauricio is waiting to hear from me if he's serious.
Hey, AKHi, big fan. Bill Haney, A-side from that 135 division. Which fight in 2021 would you be most excited to see Devin a beast?
I'm just anxious to see him get in there in April, bro. I mean, each fighter is going to propose a different challenge that Devin will have to, of course, adjust and make his adjustments to, you know, and at being 22, you know, it's just getting started. This is just the beginning, you know? So, you know, that's how we look at it. It's just that he got a world championship belt, and we no longer can pick the fighters. They're going to put him in front of him, and he's going to knock him down. You know, the same way that Floyd used to always say.
Yes, sir. Well, Devin said Tio franchise witness protection is in full effect. So if Tio is sincere, does that mean Tio is going to stop paying for that witness protection and let that franchise title go to get the real WBC title?
You know, I have no idea of having the franchise designation when you don't designate it. You know, I want to see an instance where Canelo has used the franchise designation. I want to see where Teofimo and how Teofimo uses the franchise designation, other than using Mauricio to convolute the message or convolute the fight from happening anymore. Because when you say, well, he's this or he's that, and you're saying that he's a franchise champion and he represents the franchise, well, if we represent the WBC, then we want to make the biggest fight happen for the WBC. And guess what? I don't see how Kambosos can be the biggest fight for the WBC if he's not in the WBC.
Yeah, well, have you seen Teofimo new watch? The WBC.
You know what? Actually, I saw a guy down the street with the same watch on earlier today. What's the name? It's a little watch, right? Is it like this one?
It ain't that shiny. It ain't that shiny.
Right. Well, you got a picture of his watch?
Nah, I don't got one, but I got a bill like his.
This the one Dev bought me right here.
It's hard to tell the time on that one, Bill. It's shining too much. But
you know what? With this one, you always on time, right? Always on time.
Yes, sir. And so obviously, just the last question because you done knocked out all the questions.
I thought you had some, man. Come on, man. You got to have some tougher questions.
And there's no tough questions. It's always easy work for you, man.
Okay.
You done knocked them all out.
You know what I'm saying? How did you choose Lomachenko? Because
I did not choose him. He requested, Canelo requested. So we sent out a vote and we analyzed his history.
Ooh, Canelo and Lomachenko requested?
Absolutely.
Ooh, you just made headlines.
Lomachenko.
You just made headlines.
Lomachenko, top rank, requested. And let me tell you, we analyzed the request. Top of the top.
Define the franchise belt. Can you define it?
The franchise is not a belt. It's not a championship. It's a designation given to elite, unique fighters who carry the industry of the sport of boxing. Canelo Alvarez and Lomachenko are two sensational fighters who carry the industry.
Ask Cameron Duncan, do Top Rank have like columns of fighters? And they say, we don't want this guy fighting the black fighter. We don't want this fighter fighting the Mexican fighter, and so on and so forth.
You're going to get into the racial stuff, huh?
No, I'm not. I'm asking.
That's a theory there by the greatest matchmaker, probably, in my opinion, ever.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not going to mention his name either, but you know what I'm talking about.
Uh-huh.
And he used to have a thing up on his board, NBF, no black fighters.
Uh-huh.
And when I was taught to bring up a fighter, you know, and again, it's just, he used to say to me, you can go anywhere in the country, and I'm going to leave it at this. I don't want to go into a long discussion because people are people in God's eyes, and we're all the same. He used to say to me, you can go anywhere into a city in America or anywhere in the world and ask a white guy, and he didn't say any other, he didn't say anything about Hispanic, anything. Ask a white guy to throw a jab, and half of them are going to turn backwards and throw it like a girl and everything. Ask any black man on a street corner in any city in the world, and they will snap out a jab in a heartbeat. And I used to laugh. He said, they're just more physically gifted. And he said, and so they have speed and better to stay away from them. Nothing personal. So I said, okay. And I've lived by that. And, you know, I don't want to sound like some weird guy, but, you know, you're trying to be safe with your guys. And so, there is a thing about that, you know, but not in a bad way, in a very respectful way, you know, to be careful. So that's all.
The last man even said they doing that to protect them.
Right.
Somebody beat them, but they don't get a belt.
There you go.
The franchise belt is protect them from the big black guys.
So you would favor Devin Haney to beat Vasyl Lomachenko?
And with the fighter, I'm only going to put him in a fight that I believe that he can win, right? So I don't know how to answer that question.
Did you say you would only put your fighter in a position where, in a fight where he can win?
Where I believe he could win. Yeah, I don't put a fighter in where he has no chance and he's just in there for a payday for me and him. I don't do that.
So is it more about how you
I don't put a fight out. That again goes back to Leonard Ellaby. What he was trying to say. It's risk reward.
Right. So if you were in a situation where you felt like, I'm going to just use hypotheticals. If you thought that Devin Haney was a bad matchup for Teofimo Lopez, in essence, you wouldn't make that fight because you didn't want to put Teofimo in a situation where you felt like he couldn't win. Is that what I'm hearing?
Only if, I mean, you sometimes make a fight because if let's say the fighter has a 40% chance of winning. So he's like, in your mind, an underdog. If the reward is great, you make that fight. It's risk reward.